Jenny, Pam, Gordon, welcome to our time together at morning prayer. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a good day, whatever you're doing, or whatever you've been doing. Yeah, mine's been a bit mixed. I was able to go into the school actually. Oh, Jojo, Royal Docks. Yeah, it was quite surreal. Usually it's bustling, isn't it? And yeah, quite a day. Evening, Berta. How are you? You're all right. Welcome to our time of morning prayer, evening prayer. Sorry, it's definitely evening. As always, we will just be reflecting on the day and praying together through what is now called the Celtic evening prayer. And if you've got an iPad or a device, obviously you've got a device because you're coming in on here. But if you've got sort of a device that sort of allows you, then if you Google Celtic evening prayer, you come along to the evening prayer that we're going to use today. And it's a great rhythm, sort of journeying us to sleep. But if you wanted to stay on after our time of morning prayer, we're having our Ascension weekly Bible study. And if you wanted to join that on Zoom, then just message me and I'll send you the link. Thank you very much. Berta took some flowers and a card from the church family to the nurses. That's very nice. Thank you, Berta. Thank you for that. Should we have some silence and then we'll pray together. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. My soul waits for the Lord, more than those who watch for the morning, more than those who watch for the morning. Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord, hear my voice. With my whole heart I want to praise you. O Lord, hear my voice. If you, Lord, should mark iniquities, who could stand? Who could stand? I will wait for the Lord, my soul waits, and in his word do I hope. As always, we move on to this expression of faith, this idea that God is beside us and with us through all sorts of things, the highs and the lows, because he's been faithful in the past. And so there's this expression of trust that God is with us even today. Lord, you have always given bread for the coming day, and though I am poor, today I believe. Lord, you have always given strength for the coming day, and though I am weak, today I believe. Lord, you have always given peace for the coming day, and though of anxious heart, today I believe. Lord, you have always kept me safe in trials, and now, tried as I am, today I believe. Lord, you have always marked the road for the coming day, and though it may be hidden, today I believe. Lord, you have always lightened this darkness of mine, and though the night is here, today I believe. You have always spoken when time was ripe, and though you may be silent now, today I believe. Our set psalm for tonight is Psalm 33, verses 1 to 9, and here's what it says. Rejoice in the Lord, O you righteous. Praise befits the upright. Praise the Lord with the lyre. Make melody to him with the harp of 10 strings. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully on the strings with loud shouts. For the word of the Lord is upright, and all his work is done in faithfulness. He loves righteousness and justice, and the earth is full of the steadfast love of the Lord. By the word of the Lord the heavens were made, and all their host by the breath of his mouth. He gathered the waters of the sea as in a bottle. He put the deeps in storehouses. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spoke, and it came to be. He commanded, and it stood firm. Sometimes we do need to be reminded how great and how awesome God is when we look around us and we look at creation, look at the intelligent design around us, how the earth works through its seasons, and here we just have these words, for he spoke and it came to be. We know there's these themes in the Bible that words are powerful. You know, in James's book of James, we know that the tongue is the most powerful item within our body. And here we have the power of God through his speech. That he says, for he spoke and it came to be. He commanded and it stood firm. Sometimes we have leaders, don't we, that all they do is have to speak and it becomes so. I think we're a bit bereft of certain leaders like that in the world today, where they command such trust, they command such a positive response. And we yearn, don't we, for leaders to do that just by their very nature, just by their very character, they will speak and people will answer because they trust them. I wonder how many of us can say that we trust our leaders at the moment. The sad thing is they are what we have. So we pray that they may make wise decisions on our behalf and on behalf of all of humanity. But here, above all earthly leaders, we have someone who just speaks and it happens. And he spoke creation into being. He spoke us into being. And so we are fearful of him, not in a sense of being afraid, but fear as being in awe of God. And so this psalm talks about praising someone like that. Praise that befits the upright and the music that we make. And so that's just a word for us that God is someone that we can trust. He spoke creation into being. It's just immense. And we do pause for a moment and just pray for those who do speak on our behalf. The local leaders, national leaders and global leaders, that they are trying to muddle through this and taking each day as it comes, I think, and we may see this as they're just changing their minds every day just to suit them, but actually what's happening is that no, they are changing their mind or changing course based on the new evidence, based on what comes up. You know, the sad thing is that we've got now 26,000 people who've died related to COVID-19 in the UK, and that's the second largest in Europe, behind Italy. And we just pray that thing would slow down, that we would follow the advice that we're being given about staying home, about keeping our distance. But it is hard work, isn't it? You know, our prayer continues to be one for steadfastness, for endurance, for patience, but for many they're running out of patience. They're thinking, oh God, you know, when will this ever end? We've been reminded today that we will not get back to normal, you know, whatever normal is. It will be a different way of life for a while, maybe for a generation. And I'm hoping that it will be a positive way. That as I shared this morning and last night, you know, the idea is actually we don't want the old normal, a normal of greed and a normal of hoarding and of hate and of not looking out for each other. We want a new normal where everyone is loved, everyone has a chance, everyone is looked after, particularly the most vulnerable. That's the one we yearn for. And we just move on to our gospel reading in John, and again we just this theme about God speaking creation into being, and it's John 1 verses 1 to 9. And it's interesting that our readings in the morning, but also now here in the evening, harken back to the Christmas narrative, the story of Jesus coming into the world as a baby. And of course, this part of the Gospel of John's Gospel is what we read during our carol service. If you remember that at Christmas, and we read this, and it's a great reminder of where Jesus is. And this is it, John 1, 1 to 9. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He himself was not the light, but he came to testify to the light. The true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. Just as we reflected on the psalm where God spoke and it happened, here we are reminded that everything that was made was through Jesus. This word, capital W, the core Greek in that is logos, which means knowledge. And it's Jesus with God the Father at the very beginning. And everything that was made through Jesus. And then he comes, a bit like this candle. And that's why we light candles at Christmas. That's why we light candles in church. To remind ourselves that Jesus came to be light in the world. Light shining in the darkness. Of course, we can do with that light now, can't we, in the darkness of our world. But there is hope, because just as we are celebrating Jesus coming into the world here through this passage, and John coming before him and showing people and turning people to him, life does go on. We may think that life is on a temporary hold at the moment. Well, it may be. We may think that, but actually it's just a different way of living. And life does go on. I shared with people this morning the joy of my niece having a baby yesterday, a new baby, a new boy. His name's Miles. He's £9.7, so quite hefty. But I've seen pictures of him, and of course, like all things, we can't wait to meet him. But we've seen pictures, and everyone's doing well, which is really, really good. And then later on, overshadowed a bit of news there that our Prime Minister and his partner have now got a new baby. So we have to give thanks and praise that actually there is new life coming into this world. And that's part of our future, that new life, and we have to hold on to that. And just as we reflect on Jesus coming in to be light, we also give thanks for actually new life coming in to give light to our world, and that's great. And we do want to really hold on, don't we, to those positive stories, those babies being born. We may think, this is a horrible time for a baby to be born into the world. You probably think that, but actually this is really good stuff. As long as they're healthy, as long as everyone's okay, this is a sign that the world has not stopped. It's just slowed down a bit. It's just we're doing things differently. Yeah, there are going to be casualties in every sense of the word, through loss of work, through economy shrinking. Growing economies aren't always that good, by the way. There's always this pressure of getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Actually, we've seen that actually if we hold on to the idea of actually things getting bigger and bigger and growing, at some point, and history repeats itself, that bubble bursts. Through the financial crises, through other pandemics, at some point that bubble does burst. And then we have to reform, we have to regroup, and we have to do things differently. And we have to focus, not necessarily on things that we took for granted, And of course we have taken things for granted. We've taken each other for granted. We've taken the material things that we have for granted. And for many people that's all lost. So we have to recalibrate, we have to reform, regroup, and in many ways begin again. So I think celebrating new life is just part of that. It's just celebrating for what it is. New babies coming into the world, and it's just such a joy that we can have that. But on a more deeper level, personal level, of course, some of the narrative that we see about how many people have died. I was on a call earlier with some of the leaders of the council, working through how we respond to this pandemic in Newham, and similar calls are happening across the London, across the boroughs. And one of the things that came out very strongly is that people are living in fear because all they see is death. All they see is people going into hospital, and then we get the daily figure of people dying, and that can be quite awful for people just to hear, and just to look forward to 5 o'clock or whatever it is on the briefing. So, okay, how many people have died today? What we have pushed for, and that's pretty much everyone on the call, there was about 30 of us on the call, what we've pushed for is what's positive coming out of here. So we want to see stories of people going into hospital and then coming out. And just to let you know, just in Newham alone, that's 300 people. 300 people have gone into hospital with coronavirus and have come out well. And I think that's nothing to do with people who are just isolated at home. These are the people who needed hospital treatment. Yeah, they've gone in and they've come out, and that's just in Newham. Okay, so I think we push for that. We want to see that on a weekly basis. We want to see how many people have come in. We want to see good news, because it's not all doom and gloom. Yes, people are dying, but actually people are recovering. We need to see that, because a lot of people are fearful. A lot of people don't want to go into hospital because they don't think they're going to get out again. So we need to see those numbers, don't we? So we hold on to the good news. I've rambled on a lot again. There are a couple of meditations that we've been given today to hear, and I just want to share these with you. As the tamed horse still hears the call of her wild brothers, as the farmed goose flaps hopeful wings as his sisters fly overhead, so too, perhaps, the wild ones amongst us are our only hope in calling us back to our true nature. Wild ones who have not been turned to stone by the far-reaching grasp of the empire and its program of consumer sedation, the killing of imagination. Where, my friends, have the wild ones gone? Don't we? We need people who buck the system. We need people who strive to change things, swimming against the tide, as it were, rebelling against the current state of play. We do need people like that, calling into question decisions made, bringing people to account. And we do need people like that. And certainly, within government and within the rest of the country, we need people. We need the wild ones, because it's all very easy. This word, consumer sedation. The idea is that we'll just sit back, we'll consume everything that we've given, okay, and we'll just sit in our sofas and just plod along and not say anything, and just, we're tamed, as it were, like the horses. We need wild ones. We need people to stand up. We need people to speak out. We need people to speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. And that's us. We need to do that. So I like that. And then a very, I love this. I read it just earlier on, and it's very short, by Christopher Logue, and it says this: "Come to the edge," he said. "They said, we are afraid. Come to the edge," he said, and they came, and he pushed them. Fear stops us in our tracks. stops us doing the things that maybe we should be doing, stops us taking those leaps of faith that God calls us to do because we're fearful. And then when we get to the edge, we need that nudge, and then we fly. Great meditation to end on there. We now do come to a time of prayer, and you will have your own people and your family and friends and situations that you wish to pray for. I just hope that you've taken something out of the readings that we had this morning, the idea of God breathing life into the world, someone we can trust, but also to hold on to the good news, the new things, new life that's coming into the world, new life that's bringing hope, hopefully, to our situation here and across the globe. But we do pray for all those on our hearts. We pray for the family of David, who was sadly stabbed the other night. Pray for his mum, who works for the NHS. A local young man. That still goes on. And pray as usual for our key workers, our NHS workers, our care workers, delivery drivers, supermarket workers. Pray for them. Just pray for hope. Hope that things that are not hopeless. We have a hope for now and also the future. I pray we hold on to that. As we see signs of new life, that we hold on to those, and it's a positive thing. Should we pray? In the shadow of your wings, I will sing your praises, O Lord. The Lord is my light, my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the refuge of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? In the shadow of your wings, I will sing your praises, O Lord. And one thing I ask of the Lord, one thing I seek, to dwell in the presence of my God, to gaze on your holy place. In the shadow of your wings, I will sing your praises, O Lord. I believe I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. O wait for the Lord, have courage and wait. Wait for the Lord. In the shadow of your wings, I will sing your praises, O Lord. And a final blessing. See that you be at peace among yourselves, my children, and love one another. Follow the example of the wise and good, and God will comfort you and help you, both in this world and in the world which is to come. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So I pray that you have a restful night's sleep. I'm just about to, in about 10 minutes, begin a Bible study on Zoom with a number of our Ascension folk. If there's something that would interest you, you might want to try it out. You just might want to come along for a chat. Either way, please do message me either through Messenger, or if you've got my mobile contact details, do that, and I'll send you the link. And so we're beginning about 7:30ish, 7:35 for a period of Bible study. All welcome to come on. And if you haven't used Zoom before, don't worry, there are many people on the call who are still grappling with it, but we're getting there. It's free to download. So if you go into the Google Play or to your Apple Store, if you type in Zoom, download the app, and then when you've got the app, you just click on it and you click on the link that I would send you, and you're there. So, well, may God bless you tonight as you journey to sleep, wherever you are. We come together again, as always, on Facebook at 9 o'clock in the morning for morning prayer. You never know, it may be in the garden. It might not be. So God bless you wherever you are. Stay safe, may God be with you.